the top of the hour. All right, live. We're live. It is Sam and Raoul and Puneet and Michael, and it's time after a summer break sort of thing for what would it be called? A kickoff meeting. Let's just go straight into a kickoff and see where we're up to. So yeah, maybe the thing to do is just work through the board. Sometimes mixed feelings about Waffle. I know Thomas is all excited about, and then Waffle give me a white screen there. Here you go. Go on, Waffle. On Zen Hub, which I kind of installed, but I haven't looked up. So we've got in the please check. We've got this pull request for Puneet. Puneet and I were discussing this in the Scrum yesterday afternoon. I added some comments there. Basically, there's just I think a minor refactoring that you're going to push in there, Puneet, and then it's ready to go.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't think anything else. Yeah. I think we want to kind of get that out. It doesn't have all. I guess the discussion is maybe going on in the pull request rather than there. Yeah. So I think there's merge complex. So anyway, you're not blocked there, Puneet. You've got everything you need.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So well, let's have a look at these two things in the in progress tab. We've got one, the epic of premium membership, which is the ongoing epic premium membership. I mean, I was very pleased to sign up 2 new people on premium over the summer. One of them was Marcelo, and the other was Fred, which is great. They're both on the basic plan. I think for sustainability we need more. We need more. One.
I think Zamago also.
Maybe Zamago as well. 3, in fact. You might. There you go. That's a good start. There you go. That's a great start. Just pointing out how there is more, and then we need even more. But so I'm kind of continuing just to reach out to everybody and see what we can do there. The exciting thing was yesterday, as I think everybody knows, we had the Elixir pairing with Federico. And he's done 3 months of Premium Plus, and he's got a backlog of pairing sessions to do with him. I'm hoping with videos of there, and that he will say it's a good thing, and then we'll kind of encourage other people to get Premium Plus. But we'll see. So, in the interest of me not talking too much, I think one important thing that we should add to this is that Michael pointed out that there's going to be what is it called? It's credit cards are going to expire and change and so on. So we've got a new, basically there's another aspect there which I think is going to be quite important, is allowing users to update their credit card details. So that kind of comes in there. I mean, I'll just pop that. Is it follow-up support and how to access it? Let's put a separate one there, which is, so this is like, account management is the subsection, and we've got that is change card number, which what they called Stripe supports, but it's a little engineering effort to get that in there. There's I think also like ultimately cancellation of account, which is manual at the moment. Once we have thousands of people doing it, then we'd need to support that dynamically. Yeah. So we've certainly made quite a lot of progress there. Yeah, I guess that the things that have been weighing on my mind are: should we have a general donations page which isn't attached to the premium thing? Are users confused between I'm paying for this thing or I'm donating to this charity? What's going on there? We did have this guy from Apps for Rent ask about how much it would cost to become one of our sponsors, but after sending me 2 emails, he now hasn't replied to my email or my phone call, so there we go. Any thoughts or input from anyone on this ongoing epic?
Not at this time for me.
Yeah, so I guess we leave that open there, providing an umbrella ticket for things that we're doing. I did make some more progress on the documentation before I went away. There's still a lot that needs to be done. I think I have now got everything out of I've completely closed up the website one wiki. Yes. So we've had a consolidation of things into the docs directory here. But in some cases, I've just thrown things in there as they were. There's still cleanup to be done. It feels like documentation is always a poor child. There was a great actually I was Nadia Ruby Rogues. There was an interesting Ruby Rogues talk on code hospitality by this. She's a former Makers Academy person, and she's sort of talking about inviting people into your open source project is a bit like inviting people to your house. And if you have guests over to your house, then you try and make sure they have towels, and if you've got like a messy room, you close the door and you kind of say, sorry, that's we're renovating that room or whatever. I don't know what kind of environment we're providing here for people who want to come and get involved in website one, but yeah, I guess any comments on the ongoing documentation effort?
We salute you.
Yeah, the funny thing is that there's this, like, I think for all of us, right, we've got, including Puneet and Michael, we've got kind of comfortable, we kind of know where things are, right? We don't rely upon the documentation, and the problem is it's people coming in and we don't see things from our perspective. Anyway, we'll move on. So let's just go through this ready column and see what's going on. So we've got, this is this issue that Michael raised, that we've got 2 times being shown on the event page. Yeah, and so that means in some cases, sometimes when people look at the individual events page, the dates will be wrong. I'm recommending, rather than showing the UTC time, let's say how many hours from now the event will be at. I mean, the other solution is to add a date to UTC, but this is certainly, it seems like it's a relatively straightforward thing. Any comments on this ticket? Anybody wants to take it on?
So one question. So you're saying that it shows how many hours from now the event would be. What if if we are checking the event 2 or 3 days back or a week back? Should it show like after 1 week or after 2 days, something like that? Or
you mean if the event is finished and there's no more events upcoming?
no, I mean the event is after 1 week. Okay. So in that case, what should be?
Oh, it would say it's in, rather than it saying it's in like 300 hours, it should say it's in a week or what have you. Yes. Just to highlight, this is the place where it is. Basically, we've now got these things. This UTC date will sometimes not correspond to this calendar date here. Yeah.
That date is your local.
Right. This date is the local date. So, I mean, there's a series of different fixes on there. We could be adding BST Europe London to the end of that date to indicate that it's that date. We could be adding the actual correct date information for we could have another smaller one underneath for that to be variable. It then comes down to a question of like what's actually the most useful thing to be displayed to the user. I guess I don't think it makes that much difference. Suddenly people are not going to take out lots of subscriptions to Premium Plus just because the dates are a different one. But I guess that's probably up to whoever takes on this task to use their best judgment about what will be the most useful thing for the user when they're on this page.
So, in terms of displaying how much time the event is in, how much time until the event, can we use something like, moment.js to handle that in the front end? So we just take whatever time is there, and then we use moment to calculate the time offset and display that on the page.
Yes, I believe we certainly can, and I think we have. Right, like we probably already using that for. I mean, this currently says we're live, but it gives a dynamic countdown. So it could be giving a dynamic countdown on the page. Yeah, which would make this an interesting task there. So I'll just could add moment.js to make countdown dynamic.
We are using moment.js for the date already, I think.
Yeah. Right.
No,
So
actually, no, not on that page, but on another page.
right. So I think that's that there's the immediate fix is just making sure that I mean, there's this kind of corner case which can be confusing for users where the date is but it happens less often. But if you're close to UTC like I am, it happens less often. However, if you're further away you are from UTC, the more frequently you will have this.
So when you were in Japan, you were totally confused.
Right, totally. I mean, I guess it's a question of how much pairing we're going to have in the part 2. I mean, it would be nice to be having the site very active and supporting lots of pairing again. Whether we can sustain there's peer review as well. Anyway, but so yeah, this is probably should. I guess I'm going to increase the urgency on this because really this should be fixed before we have more people like MOOC students coming through. So anyway, did anybody want to take the lead on that one?
I can work on it.
All right. So we'll set you up as that for your next one, Puneet. There we go. And do of course hand that off if you don't have time for it. We'll move on. So what we got here? We got this one. We see these ongoing memory quota exceeded in the logs. We continue to see them. I think that the big discussion in this subsequently was about a separate problem. Was that that was a migration failure, wasn't it, Raoul? That we then fixed, but yeah, I get that was anyway. So there's an ongoing kind of memory leak, which we assume is affecting our performance. I do actually have there's an article here on how we might actually go about debugging the memory leak and examining what's causing this. So that's something to look into if anybody's interested. Anybody want to take the lead on that? If not, we'll leave that there as it requires admin input, but it's also certainly ready to be looked at. It's not clear how high priority that is. We've got this update the tweet service to check if the event is being recorded before posting a tweet with a YouTube link. That was reported by Thomas. I think it still is an issue. There's a question there, I think, of can we actually assess it? So, like, we have these tweets that go out. Like, if we look at the AgileVentures Twitter handle, we see that pretty much everything is kind of like is going out the whole time. Like, I kind of don't feel like I don't have Twitter tweets pop up on my screen, so I don't feel like a strong awareness of this. But I do notice. I mean, it's on and going on, and sometimes it's there. And we're live. That was this morning's. But so sometimes, I think Joao there, that worked. I feel sometimes like we're just like seriously spamming the entire world with these things. Like there was the one on Elixir Phoenix. But if people, we're live. Okay, enough of me. There's a situation.
People use it, or
when you say do people use it, what do you mean?
161 followers.
That we have on. Do people use this thing? There are 261 people following it. Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, recently, I think I reset the password on this and got it to set up an account. I see other people adding themselves as followers and favoriting our links occasionally, but I suspect that a lot of those are just people trying to network.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not actually that they've been inspired by the Pacific Rim Scrum. Well, who knows?
So I remember receiving a notification about some guy who retweeted one of the session from a student, and he was so excited that the guy was doing that he wanted to do the same as well. So I don't know if he ever joined AgileVentures after that.
No, but it happened. There was a guy, who like and he retweeted and forwarded it to Joe Moore, who's Pivotal Labs pair programming guru, and said, "Oh wow, these great resources at AgileVentures," and there was a little conversation there, and it's I mean, we can see we've got 55 likes there for different. There you go. See that was the one from Joe Moore there. You know, it's that's our like. Anyway, but I think we do have there's an issue that for people who don't click record, sometimes the tweet will go out and the YouTube video will be you know, a dud link. What's not clear is you know, can we detect dud videos before they go out? I mean, it's one of these things, sort of a bit like the code hospitality. You know, with one, we've got the code base. Two, we've got the site as a whole. I mean, so I think Michael and I yesterday we worked on paginating this membership page, which will I think make that membership page much more usable. Raoul's pushing that out, but there's so many different bits and pieces in the site. Like, I don't know if the impression that most people get when they come to it, and maybe they're looking on mobile or whatever, they think, wow, this is kind of a bit of a shaky outfit, or if they're accepting those things, or if it's putting them off, who knows? It's difficult to know how to prioritize this. Maybe we've already completely alienated the universe of Twitter people. So anyway, I think we all understand. I guess we should be voting on these issues if they're not voted for. What have we got here? This is that there. Size, no size. No. All right, let's back up and let's do voting. I'm getting encouraged to vote. So let's just vote on this. Was this one about the showing, fixing this date bug here? So let's vote on. Was there? We've already discussed this and kind of Vinny's going to take the lead in it. And do we need any further discussion on this before we vote on it?
No.
Okay. So everybody get ready in the Slack chat. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. Michael, why do you think it's a 2?
It depends on how you mix it.
Yeah, I think if you include the Moment.js, I think it's a 2. I think the simple fix that we probably should do is makes it a 1.
Okay.
So we go for 1. Yep. Okay, cool. Memory leak. Any further discussion needed of memory leak in order to vote on this?
No.
Okay. If we're ready, 3, 2, 1, go. So I'm out on my own thinking it's a 3 because I'm thinking it might be like a 2 amount of effort to work out what the problem is, and then it's actually going to be, fixing it is the next thing. I guess if we just call it diagnosing it, I'm happy to go for a 2. So shall we call it diagnosing memory leak, and then we can agree to split the difference?
Yeah.
Because we maybe open a separate ticket once we've actually understood what the problem is. And then can we actually, is the size estimate? Yeah, we can. See, almost everything can be done through that interface. Okay. So that's that one. So this is the tweet update one. Yeah. Any further discussion needed on the tweet thing before we vote on this one? If not, then gentlemen, please enter your votes. And 3, 2, 1, go. Oh yes, we're on fire. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. So now, move the new JavaScript files to an automated management system and out of vendor files. So this was something we were discussing before with Michael saying that, and John telling us that Bower has been now superseded by NPM as the go-to, I guess, dependency management system for JavaScript.
We had an issue recently with some of our materials when we were relying on Bower, and one of the dependency wasn't supported anymore. So to switch to it.
Okay. Yeah. Now we have this JavaScript directory vendor assets JavaScripts. So I guess it would be about moving those. Is there something more? Were you telling me something about that we actually had to rebuild the asset pipeline or something, Michael? Or is that just what John's done and we could just use npm to install and we wouldn't have, and it would be relatively straightforward?
You'd have to write a npm script, I guess, to install and then copy to the vendor directory.
Oh, okay. So that
Which
sounds, yeah, go on.
basically means knowing more about npm. Yeah.
Hmm. That sounds relative. Sounds relative, and then copy to vendor directory. So are you, Raul? Are you managing some of your Rails assets now using npm in some of the projects for KickOff Academy?
So that was a Node project. It was Ionic, so that's fine. It wasn't a Rails project.
Okay, but so you haven't. So I guess none of us have yet had direct experience of using npm asset management within Rails.
No.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, so Elixir Phoenix, which we were doing yesterday, and Phoenix does its asset pipeline management using npm. So, Rails is in potentially good company there if we move in that direction. Any further discussion needed on this ticket before we vote on it? If not, gentlemen, to your windowy things, find a number, and I will count down 3, 2, 1, go. Oh yes, that's how we do efficient meetings. Great minds thinking alike in real time. Okay, so we've got there's a little agile bot here. I was thinking that the notification about the CS169 Hangout could be sent to the Slack channel as well as the Gitter in order, because sometimes the people from the MOOC, we tell them to join the Slack, and I think that there's general confusion at the beginning about Slack, Gitter, why am I supposed to use which one for what? And so there's often people kind of saying, is someone pre-preparing or whatever? I mean, we can just keep on telling them again and again and again, oh, go to the Gitter, no, go to the Gitter, go to the Gitter. Or we could make the CS169 room in Slack have the same functionality as the Gitter room and send the Hangouts there, and basically that would just make more places. We'd be increasing the visibility of the fact that pairings are starting up. So yeah, I don't know if people have strong feelings about this either way.
We had moved it out of Slack because of all the notifications.
Right, in particular because they were going into the general channel. But my proposal here is that they would only go into the ESAS169 MOOC channel here.
All right. So what about us who are in that channel?
In this channel? Well,
people.
Yes, and so yeah, there might be a lot of notifications going in here, but this is for all people who are kind of interested in ESAS169 MOOC. It's not the ESAS169 MOOC admin channel. It's just like, this is kind of like, originally before we had the Gitter channel, this was the Slack channel, and alumni are in there. People often join this channel. They start, what happens is people come into Slack in general and new members, and they start asking questions related to the MOOC, and we say, hey, you should ask that question in the channel for your MOOC, and then they go there and questions come up. So it seems to me that notifications in here, which they wouldn't necessarily have to be at channel, they could be at here, or even they don't necessarily have to. I mean, just to make it explicit, we've got the Gitter. I've got the Gitter client running.
Yeah, here would probably work because that wouldn't ping me on a phone, right?
Yeah, I think we definitely want to avoid. I mean, people can obviously turn their phone things off, but I think excessive at channeling, is very counterproductive.
Yeah, because last winter,
yeah,
it was constantly making noises.
Yeah, and I think that was because we had those pairing events at kind of the same level of what's happening with.
People thought I was really popular, probably.
Well, we can arrange for we can have a bot that pinged you so that people would think that generally, but yeah. So I think here, what I'm imagining is that we would have like this thing. We see over the summer, a few people starting Hangouts. I've no idea if they've successfully paired with people. There's like the courses in archive mode. I'm imagining if this was also appearing in here, in here, with possibly probably an at here, I think is
at here would work.
Yeah, then that would probably be. It would increase the chance that people who are like, in the MOOC would have people dropping in. I don't know. You can say it's like we shouldn't split between two things. We should say we should move all together on. Anyway, I've talked enough. Talked to you. So, any further discussion on this item?
No.
Shall we vote on it? Gentlemen, place a number in that box, and 3, 2, 1, go. Well, we're evenly split down the middle. Raoul, why do you and I think it's a 1?
So the reason I think it's a 1 is we're already doing notification to channels, so I assume it's just a matter of setting up another one. I mean, grabbing those events for CS192 and pushing them to that thing, to that Slack instance. I don't know if there's anything else.
I think you're basically right. Let's just go to Puneet. Why let's have you as a representative of the twos. Why were you thinking it was more complex?
Actually, I after hearing to Raul's explanation, I'm inclined more towards having it run, because we already have a system in place and we just need to make some smaller changes. But yeah, it doesn't seem much like 2 actually.
Michael, what are your thoughts?
So I thought that we would have to touch the Agile bot.
We would.
And that's a source of trepidation.
It is. It is. And this is, in fact, the Agile bot. So this is the main single file that, is the script that handles it. And
you would have to make changes separately because of how the channels are coded in version control instead of in some other way. It's like if you go up to the top of that file.
Yeah, it's got these things.
To test it manually for integration purposes, we would have to change that for staging versus.
Yes, I think the actual change that we would need if we're basically this is the point here.
Right.
Where it
sends Slack message, yes.
Sends the getter message because it checks if that's if it's related to that, and we would need to kind of then send that to a Slack message and make sure it went to the right room. So that the change in the code is probably pretty minimal, but absolutely the testing. Now we started on testing for this, didn't we? We've got. I think you have do you have an outstanding pull request on this that has even more?
I have an outstanding branch that's still
right
working on, and then you were like, "Oh, it's not important."
Well, not important. There were other things that trumped it maybe on that day, but we would totally like to have.
If you go to the branches, it's probably there somewhere.
Yeah.
I thought it would be.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, you got one of 41. That's staging copy. No, it's the copy. Anyway, but I shouldn't get us sidetracked into that. But I think you're right. There's there's 2 approaches. There's one is doing the quick hack thing that we've always done, has always been done in the past. It would be nice to be making those changes with the security of this bigger testing. That branch that you got to, had you got to a good place as regards the test? You felt that the tests were covering some sufficient.
I was testing more, but it wasn't that clean. It was,
there
was a lot of things that had to be stubbed out.
Yeah.
So it was kind of mock hell.
Yeah. So I'm kind of knocked into sort of a 2 position there. I guess, maybe we should call this? Should we split the difference and call this a 1? But there's kind of a separate task which is like putting the tests in, right? Which is probably we should finish putting the tests in before doing this.
Right. Okay.
So why don't we go for that for a 1, and let's have a look for. I mean, if we look at AgileBot, do we have a specific task for? Should be if we're going to look in the AgileBot's issues. Do we actually have a specific one for test there? No. So let's have a specific thing there, which is complete more thorough test harness. Really needs to be done, and we'll stick that as a higher priority. And okay, we'll get that in there. Okay. So, right. Okay, moving on. Test coverage. There seems to be some ambiguity about test coverage. Were you looking into this previously, Raoul?
Yes, I was. So I ran into some issues where the merge wasn't done properly, whereby some of the files that were covered by, say, RSpec and not covered by Cucumber, at the end of the merge, I would get like a 0 coverage out of that. And this is a problem that is from the Simple Cove gem that they're using for merging. Well, as far as I went, that's what I found out. So, and I don't think they've pushed up a fix to that yet. So, yeah, my thinking was to maybe have a further look at that and see if I could try something out, but never got time to do that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And was the negative side effect that we're worried about was that the coverage was being reported incorrectly sometimes?
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I guess we'll want to have a look at that. I mean, I'm just clicking through here into Coverall's IO GitHub AgileVentures website 1, and it's kind of showing me like last build on branch develop, 7th of March 20, committed by Yarrow, and then
I don't know how to fix that.
Yeah, there's some. That's totally weird. Yeah. Okay. So there's clearly. Yeah, I think when we have some more pull requests, that's like there's more. We've got weirdness going to coveralls. I mean, I guess another thing we could be doing is like Code Climate offers coverage as well now. If we just look quickly at the pull request, we've got one open from. See, and I noticed here actually, this we only got 2 checks here. Like the coverage hasn't run there. It's semaphore. Yeah. So, Anyway, okay. And actually, at least we're getting some Code Climate there now. Anyway, we'll leave that for. So, I mean, this is sort of an investigation thing. Let's, I guess, vote on it, unless anybody wants to discuss it further. I'll take that as a no. Investigation. I guess does it require admin input?
Nah, not necessarily.
No, not necessarily. All right. So just for the investigation, rather than actually fixing it, gentlemen, your votes, please. 3, 2, 1, go. And abstentions, I guess, from Puneet and Michael, who've just got so bored of the whole thing. Right. Well, Raoul's looking at this before, so I'm happy to go for 2, really, unless anybody objects. Let's just leave that. It's not worth. Okay, so we're almost finished for the ready column. So this is failure to save autocorrect client. I had a failure. We had an air brake. Oh, I didn't see anything on air brake. Yeah, there was kind of like a weird thing in there. We've already voted on it. It hasn't occurred again. I guess that's there for someone to look at, take the lead on it if they want to. But does anyone want to consider this in more detail?
Airbrake seems to be working. We got some new issues yesterday.
Indeed, Airbrake started up again. Yeah, in the last week or so. I'm not sure what happened there. Yes. Well, let's move on to the backlog. Some things we just added here onto the backlog. Michael and I were just talking about the karma thing. It would be nice to have the individual karma numbers on the user index page linked to the breakdown of the karma on the profile. We couldn't immediately do it because there's some hyperlink weirdness. I think that's definitely something that would be an improvement. So I'm tempted to throw that into the excuse me. Let's put that into the ready column. It's probably higher priority than there. Let's put that there. I guess in the interest of time, we've done the voting on the ready. Let's just move things from the backlog to ready or not based on them. Any comments on this ticket?
No.
If not, as we saw from the adding pagination, we kind of had to remove the quick filter for users. We could work to put that back in. Michael and I were discussing different kinds of caching and things. I'm not sure if it's a very high priority, so I'm tempted to leave that on the backlog unless anybody wants to tell me that quick filter and being able to see all of the users in one page was a really important feature for them.
I mean, who is it important for? Like, how often do people actually do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
The only time I recall seeing someone use it is you, when you may be looking for someone's profile to show during a stand-up or something. But
right. Indeed, and it feels to me like I'm not at the moment. I'm not bothered by the presence or absence of it. I mean, it's kind of a nice feature, but having the page load quickly and smoothly is clearly much more important. Puneet, is it an important feature for you?
Not quite, I would say.
No. Okay. Well, we'll leave that on the backlog then. Maybe. Go on, Raul.
No, I was just going to say that I'm not saying it's something to throw away, but I don't think it's that urgent to work on.
No, I think it's kind of a nice feature. It's nice and dynamic. We could do with the whole site being more kind of dynamic and zippy, that's the modern world apparently. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those features that was sort of added, I think, on a whim. I didn't specifically request it. I think the motivation for it partly came from Thomas imagining people are kind of they're looking for other people to pair with, and they're going to find those pair partners by kind of searching through the pair page or the members page, which I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the mechanism is for. I feel like if only we had something if pairing was like Splatoon, people were excited about it as Splatoon, which some of them are, and if we just had some way of providing kind of a big muxing thing that put people in a room together and then I don't know. There's lots and lots of. I'll blog about it. Sorry, I'll stop talking. Okay. Anyway, let's go on to these. So we've got some errors here from Airbrake. So this looks like a particular user. Or was this not connect? There was basically a Postgre connection failure. I guess, is that a one-off thing that we can ignore? This was related to what's the word? Our general memory issues, do you think?
No. I think maybe let's just observe and see if it reoccurs again, because was probably once, I think.
Yeah, sounds right to me. And so we had a similar sort of something here. Huh. Yeah. I mean, what we're not having for either of these things is any user complaining about them. It's not clear, if these have happened as a result of, bots crawling the site or what have you. So I guess, yeah, we'll carry on observing those.
They're probably the first visible signs of the Chinese hacker takeover.
Well, you heard it here first. Heard it here first, folks. All right.
Critical infrastructure.
We are the thin red line or something, or orange line. So we've got enable premium users to update card details. This is the issue that we mentioned that is going to be important to keep. That's pretty important actually in terms of keeping our what is it called? Money flowing in. I will pop that to the top of the ready column unless someone feels like overriding me. And then we've got. Okay, yeah. So we've got this geolocation. So this is an issue reported by Fred. I've now fixed his profile so that it reports that he's in China, and so we've made one user slightly happier. What I noticed, and we had a little discussion with this with Iggy and Raul the other day, is that there seemed to be a difference in his IP for his currently signed in IP and his last signed in IP. And I guess that's maybe the difference between him signing in at work and him signing in at home. At work, he's maybe going through a corporate proxy, which makes the system think that he's in, or he's using a proxy at home in order to avoid the kind of countrywide Google firewall or something that blocks various things that they're not supposed to see in China, or what have you. I don't know. Yeah. What I noticed is that this is the thing I was trying to call out to Thomas and Brian, which is that we currently geocode by the last sign-in IP rather than by the current IP. And I just wondered if there's any motivation for us to be geocoding by the previous sign-in or the current sign-in. It seems like an arbitrary distinction to me. But so I mean, I resaved all the users again. I've got it set up. I saved them like I wouldn't have geocoded them. I mean, I guess I could investigate this. I guess I'm not getting the sense that people are terribly excited by this ticket. I'm just going to move it into the ready column, about there. Yeah, I mean, I'll carry on having a look at. I'll monitor and see if his location resets. We do at least in the short term appear to be displaying his correct location, and similarly for Joao. Okay, so I guess we're possibly running out of steam. There was this video link not available issue that Joao encountered. And your video is back. Excellent, thank you, Raul. This was on the Met Plus video. I guess we just have no idea. I mean, that's like one of the vagaries of the. I guess, and we have. It's maybe. Is it that
Another
one? Yeah.
No, so that's another one.
Yeah. So we're having this. So, like, it seems to occur with some frequency. So it appears to have happened again. Yeah, I mean, I guess I haven't touched or looked at that portion of the system at all, like how those videos are managed. I mean, that's obviously, a kind of a bug that's, it's bothered them, and it's. I mean, I'm very impressed with the Met Plus project that they've really been going for a long time, and they've been maintaining a steady level of activity, with a turnover of people, So if it's something that bothered them, then probably we want to see if we can have a little look into it. What, have I just moved it? What have I done? Yeah, there we go. Let's move that into here. I think responding to what users actually say are a problem is a good idea generally. What I'm less clear about is, what that. We have this huge video archive, of all of these pairing events. I think these guys mainly they're sort of doing Scrum things, perhaps rather than pairing so much, or doing soloing, or who knows.
They do pair program.
Yeah. Say again.
I'm saying they do pair program.
Yeah. I think they totally do some. There was, I think Joao was telling me and Michael that there wasn't as much as he'd like, but yes, I mean they're definitely a very active project. I guess kind of the whole thing for AgileVentures is that we want this network effect. We're building up this huge resource of videos and so on, but I think we're not deriving necessarily very much value from it. I don't know. Anyway, I shall stop waxing lyrical. Bad talking, Sam. Go and blog. I'm not blogging enough. Anyway, I think we've then got, a few more things here, like, I'm thinking about for the next course, should we see the pairing events? There's some things for the static site, more stuff for the Karma stuff. Yeah, let's just put the word Karma in there. Include that with our Karma. I think we've probably got, I think psychological research tells me that our brains have all switched off about 4 or 5 minutes ago. So probably this is a good time to wrap up the meeting and have a break. And I've got another meeting coming up in like 12. I'm feeling reasonably good there about at least having reviewed everything in those 3 columns. We've got through some of the backlog. Are there any other issues? Are there things deeper on the backlog that people feel that we should have looked at or we should have moved into ready?
Yep.
Just before the meeting, I think I'm just gonna. This is So I'll take that as a no. Just before the meeting, actually. Go on.
In the backlog, are there so many items in the backlog at this point that they won't actually be completed before the heat death of the universe?
That's very possible. That's very possible. I think unless we can create an exponential network effect so that the number of developers working on website 1 increases exponentially towards that, and then I think we'll have sort of an equilibrium where they will all be completed at precisely the heat death of the universe, and then symmetry will be achieved.
Probably there's even issues there that are not relevant anymore. There was one that someone picked up this, I think, yesterday or this morning.
Yes.
And I had to close it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep. We think that's yes. So I mean, what one of the things we could do to try and address that in future is we could start at the bottom. This is actually one, I think, I forgot his name now, John or somebody. It's another John Rafrano, who's one of the Mentive mentors. He was saying that one of the reasons that he didn't like Waffle so much is that new issues went on the top of the backlog, and there is a tendency for us to sort of keep focusing on those, and these other things like languish at the bottom. So maybe what we want to do in a subsequent week is start from the bottom, and we can maybe quickly go through and clear out a lot of things that are not relevant anymore. So that's a good suggestion, and I guess that's the kind of thing that we should put into if we've got our KickOff documents, which we didn't refer to this time, but maybe next week if we're going back to the normal time. Does that? I think you were saying it's just this week, Raoul, that you wanted this time. Does returning to the normal time next week, that's on the 2nd of September, make sense?
Yeah, that's okay.
Michael Tunit?
It's great.
All right, so we have a suggestion there to, start review of backlog from bottom.
From bottom to avoid
Heat death, universe, etc. to avoid heat, death, universe overtaking us. Yeah, well, talk about the heat of the universe. What about the pivotal thing, which we should clean up? Anyway, let's not go there. Okay. Yeah, and what I was just mentioning there was, yeah. So we now have. I've just set up a geocoding scheduler that will also, yeah, I've added the scheduler. So hopefully that will run daily. That will update both the karma and the geocoder. We will see. Okay. So yeah, let's cool that. Let's draw a line. I'll stop the broadcast.